If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. It's free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or a computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. What's up, Bombshells? Welcome to Bombshell 1111 Podcast, Therapy for Women of Color. My name is Kia, and I'm your host. Generally, podcasts request donations, but I want you to show love by simply subscribing to my social media platforms by visiting my website at www.bombshell1111podcast.com. I want to see thousands of subscribers on this platform. Leave your comments and I'll show love by shouting you out on my social media platforms such as Instagram and Facebook. I want to thank you for your continued support as always. And with that being said, let's jump into this new episode.
Hello, my name is Julia Cha, and I'm here tonight to drop some bombs with Bombshell 1111.
Welcome back, you guys, to Bombshell 1111 Podcast. I'm Kia, and I'm your host. Tonight, you guys will be talking about holistic coaching with my very special guest, Julia. So, you guys, let's just get into it. Hi, Julia. How are you?
Hi, Kia. I'm well. Thank you so much for having me here with you.
Thank you so much for coming on and being a part of the podcast and sharing your knowledge and your tools with the audience. I look forward to hearing everything that you have to share with us tonight. So again, thank you as well.
Thank you.
So Julia, I do have a description down in the bio about who you are, where you're from, and what you do. But yeah. I always like to give the audience an opportunity to hear my guests to, let them know as well who they are, what they do, and where they're from. So can you let us know who you are, what you do, and where you're from?
Yes, I'm a holistic success coach. I work with company founders, entrepreneurs, executive level corporate women, mostly women. And what we do together in our coaching partnership is identifying what it means for them to have it all, to have fulfillment and happiness and also abundance in both their personal and in their professional life. And oftentimes it feels like reaching the impossible that we make together to make it possible.
So for those out there that don't have an understanding or know exactly what holistic coaching is, can you help us understand more about what is holistic coaching and what made you decide to want to even become that?
Absolutely, yes. Holistic coaching is looking at every area of your life. Traditional coaching is about looking at one area, usually quite goal-oriented or revenue-oriented or something that is to do with career. And that's how a lot of coaching started. Or you may be familiar with athletic coaching. Mm-hmm. Every athlete has multiple coaches, where they have a conditioning coach, they have a performance coach, they have all sorts of coaching, like nutrition coach. It's a similar idea that when we are high performers, when we have big goals and we're achieving a lot of things, someone like you, Kia, you're juggling a lot of things, and so are my clients. When we're juggling so many things and we become very single-minded and goal-oriented in one area, it's very easy to drop the ball in other areas. So basically what we want to prevent is burnout. We also want to prevent neglecting important areas of our lives to reach that one specific goal. So let's say an entrepreneur is growing a business as a founder and her main goal is to get to 1 million. Now, if she neglects her family, if she neglects her health, if she neglects her social life and say that she gets there, she cannot sustain it. Right? Mm-hmm. So this is the holistic approach. It's looking at every single area. And oftentimes our mindset is quite driven to be single-minded, right? In schools, your goal is to get a certain grade, to get into a certain school, right? to get into a certain profession. So so much of this work is about breaking those barriers of very old beliefs that we have, and also very old mindset of truly looking at our value system and allowing those value systems to be lived out in how we conduct ourselves while achieving the goals that matter the most to us.
And so, Julia, you stated that the holistic coaching is, again, the practice of helping clients reach their goals, by focusing on the whole person approach. What specifically is your holistic coaching approach?
My approach has much to do with the subconscious programming that we
whoop.
Well, the subconscious programming is basically your survival programming. So we are programmed when we're very young, right? We absorb our environment, how we are parented, what we are told, and cultural things. And that becomes a part of our survival toolkit, let's call it. And so we become reactive to the environment. That's why two people can take the same course and will have entirely different outcome. One person can use the same information to become a millionaire. The other person may really struggle, right? So it's not about having the information. So much of it is about how we experience the information and what we do with it, how we use it. And that really has to do with our mindset. What blocks us are the survival programming, right? And people want to thrive. I'm sure the people listening to this podcast, they all want to thrive. So what does thriving mean? Oftentimes thriving means that you have to leave your survival programming. Also, all of us experience trauma. So trauma is about being trapped in a certain experience. Some people call this being stuck in a developmental stage, right? Or also it can be looked at belief systems that are so rigid that it doesn't allow you to be free and to consider other perspectives and options. So when it comes to doing the work, it's about challenging all those areas, healing many areas, and allowing what feels impossible to become possible, right? Because when we look at somebody who's had a lot of success, that person had to do a lot of work in their subconscious. Your subconscious is science, it's not woo-woo. I know people talk about energy and subconscious at the same time. Subconscious really is your emotional brain. Right? We've been collecting data since we were in the womb, since our very first existence. So it's about decoding what's making us do the things that we do and why we don't do the things that we don't, right? It's about understanding ourselves to that's such a deep level, and also looking at what helps us and what doesn't help us. And based on what helps us, we want to shift ourselves to that direction.
And when you speak of reprogramming your subconscious mind, can you elaborate more on that?
Yeah, I believe it's kind of it might be a tricky type of, very conceptual, right? So I like to use examples. One thing that I see a lot is perhaps the relationship that especially women have with money, right? So all the money stories we carry, a lot of us we were raised in helplessness around money. And this actually, it doesn't matter if your family had money or didn't, it's about their attitude and their beliefs around money, right? So when it comes to becoming bigger, right? So I was actually looking at investing right now. I was doing some investment today. And I always know this now. And back in the day when I didn't know how to invest, right? I never understood how bad it feels to invest when the market is down, right? And so we become very tuned into things that we never noticed before because it was so normalized. We don't see that, oh, this is a problem, because when I feel bad, then I don't want to take the action, right? But the reprogramming is about understanding, okay, this is a conditioned feeling. This is not reality, because it feels like reality, right? Really, I have a bad feeling about this. No, it's really truly at this moment is because for most people, it doesn't feel good to invest when the market is down, right? But it is important to invest when the market is down, right? So reprogramming is about changing the belief system, changing the emotions around it, and that propelling to take the action that's going to give you the results that you want, right? So if wealth is a goal, then you have to, be able to invest when the market is down. If wealth is a goal, whatever fear people may have around finances and understanding different areas of finance, financial literacy, a lot of times because we avoid things that feels bad. So understanding that we're driven towards pleasure, whatever we believe is pleasure, whatever we've been trained to believe is pleasure is what we immediately go towards. So the reprogramming process has a lot to do with the nervous system, emotional healing. So we start to want the good things, right? Because a lot of times we're programmed to not want the good things, like all the bad money stories that I was raised with, right? And also women didn't manage money in my family. So feeling guilty or bad or shame around needing to learn it and feeling this repelling emotion. Now, in the past, before the reprogramming takes place, we think that's reality. We think this is not for us, or it's not for my personality, or this is not meant for me. But reprogramming is about understanding, okay, this was all conditioned. It's not who I really am, right? This is how I was taught. This was the environment. My environment was that we spend everything we have there. That's an example, right? Therefore, saving feels really bad. Reprogramming is about changing the emotional experience based on the results that we want. It's like upgrading to become a different version of yourself.
Yeah, self-concept.
Yeah.
I love it. So, Julia, the whole philosophy behind holistic coaching is that your holistic health is like existential. It's the vital thing for your motivation, development, and performance. In your opinion, why is holistic coaching important?
The easiest way I can describe holistic coaching, if I were to say it in one or two words, is coaching based on values. It's coaching based on your values and the meaning that you want to make out of your life and career. Because your career is your life purpose, right? You have a purpose, Kia. That's why you have this podcast. That's why you put in the time. That's why you invite the guests, right? So when we look at holistic coaching, is to never lose the value, because we always have to make decisions. Sometimes the immediate gratification feels so much better. It feels pleasurable, right?
Right.
But it's about, okay, does it support my values? Because we need to take action based on what we're building rather than what feels better at the moment.
Right.
That's why this is important. Because, for example, say your career, you want this podcast to go to huge places, right?
Right.
Say that that's a goal. And say that you neglect everything else. Say that I understand you have children, and so you neglect the children, you neglect your health. Does that support your values? Is one of your value system to have a close-knit family life, to be closely connected with your children, right? To have the most, feel younger than ever as you get older. Like, are these things your value system? Then just focusing in one area is not going to give you that, right? You arrive there, you become dissatisfied. And that's what we see with a lot of people who are quite single-minded, right? They get to 40, they work very hard. They had this desire, you know what, I'm going to do better than my parents. That is not a value system, right? That alone, right? It's like, my mom never had a career and she never worked. So if I just do better than her, I'm good. But that's not a value system. That's choosing based on the past. Yeah. Or someone thinking, you know what, I'm going to be a lawyer because that makes money. That is also not the right value system, because money is something that you get when you add value to people's lives. So a profession chosen only for money, that is not a value system. So it's about understanding all these complex areas and making sure that when people make decisions day to day, it's supporting their long-term goals. So when they arrive there, they're going to be happy, truly.
Oh, yeah, I totally agree with everything you just said. So, Julia, not only do you do holistic coaching, but you also have recently written 2 books, I Am There and Rich and Loved. Can you talk about both of your books a little bit?
Yes, I love writing. I believe I'm an author at heart. So Am I There Yet came out in the beginning of COVID. It was May 2020. Of course, it took me 6 months to write it, so I started before that. And because so many people were reading at the time, right, being stuck at home in quarantine, it became a bestseller right away, just through my social network. And this one is more about recognizing what you believe is reality, what you believe is fate, what you believe is something that you cannot control. It's all conditioning, including your own personality. So Am I There is about that. It's about how do you become yourself when you don't even know who that's supposed to be? You have no point of reference, right? In a nutshell, not a spoiler, but whoever or whatever you deeply desire, that is actually who you're meant to become.
Wow.
So that is your compass, right? Based on that, you have to trust and you have to move towards a direction. And to do that, you have to do a lot of the subconscious release and healing and reprogramming. Rich and Loved is about what it takes for someone to have it all, especially as a woman, especially for many of us who are women of color. We have a lot of conditioning that's patriarchal, family, culture, right? Women are always told to play small, have no boundaries, take care of everyone, bend over backwards, right? All of these things that block us from achieving what we want, getting what we deserve, and also having it all. So those are the topics that are discussed in Rich and Loved.
And so where can individuals go if they want to get the holistic coaching from you? Do you provide those services only in person, or are those services provided also online, Julia?
I do private coaching, which is VIP. I take select clients during a year, and I will work with those clients, usually longer term. So minimum 3 months, and longer term, many of my clients who are founders, entrepreneurs, they've been around with me for over 2 years. And so, yes, there may, depending on the candidate, that is an option. I also have very affordable online courses that cover certain topics. So if money seems to be hard and challenging, a lot of the money programming, I have a course on that. I also have a course on recognizing red and green flags in relationships, because when it comes to career in our personal life, understanding human dynamics is so very important, because opportunity, money, happiness in a relationship, all of that comes through relationships, right? So that is another approach that if people are interested, they can go and find that. It's all linked on my website. Very easy to find. It's juliacha.com. And I am currently creating another course on assertive communication that is all to do with body language, facial expression, and also how to speak. So that is also coming. So I'm always adding new easy ways that people can work with me, even if they're, say, unable to afford the time or the money to work with me one-on-one. So these are excellent options, cost less than a session of therapy.
And where can they go to purchase your books?
My books are on Amazon. You can also find the links on my website as well. It's right on the front page when you go to juliacha.com, and when you click on the books, it will take you to the Amazon links.
And you guys, I'll also have the link down below in the description box for you guys to be able to copy and paste, or just click on the link to be able to go and purchase the books as well.
Perfect.
So Julia, that brings us to the end of this episode. But before we end, can you just provide the listening audience with your social media platforms for those who want to just follow you on their social media handles?
Yes. My 2 most active places are TikTok and YouTube. Instagram I'm on, but not as frequently anymore. And LinkedIn will be the other one. So on TikTok, it's Julia J Cha. I had to use my middle initial. Julia J Cha. Yeah. I like to just get Julia Cha, but it's not always possible. Some younger person got there with the same name. Sure, why not? I got my TikTok on pretty early, but somebody before that, so I'm guessing it was a young Gen Z person who got it. Because I think it was taken much early in the day of TikTok. So it's Julia J Cha. And YouTube is Julia Cha. You can find it there. It's easy. You just type in my name and I'll pop up. And I have longer form videos there too. People who are interested in subconscious and manifestation, all that related together, and also healing. A lot of the videos there are longer form and very helpful. And LinkedIn is Julia Cha as well. LinkedIn and Instagram is Julia. I'm sorry, they're not all the same, but I would say LinkedIn is more active for me than Instagram. So it's just Julia Cha there.
Well, thank you so much for that, Julia. And again, thank you so much for coming on and being a part of the podcast and sharing your knowledge and tools. As you stated, you talked about manifestation and subconscious mind. We talk a lot of that information to share here on the podcast. So I thank you for coming on and sharing more of that information on the podcast, and hope to have you back again at some point in some time.
That would be fantastic. Thank you so much for having me today.
You're more than welcome. And you guys, again, I'll have those links down below in the description box so you guys can go and purchase the books, or even just if you're interested in joining those online courses, you can also go and purchase those, and also follow her on her social media platforms. So with that being said, you guys, that brings us to the end of this episode. Thanks to Julia for joining us. We hope that you were able to hear something beneficial to you. And with that being said, thanks for listening. And always remember, you are a bomb within your own shell. Peace, love, and light, you guys. Until next time, good night. If you enjoyed this podcast, please make sure you subscribe so you're notified when a new episode is posted. Rate, review, and share this podcast with your family and friends. Thanks so much for listening, and I hope you're leaving with some valuable information that can help you on your personal journey. Also, check us out on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram at Bombshell 1111 or at Bombshell 1111 TV. You can also check out our mental health page, Your Health is Your Wealth, on Facebook, which is a page created to inform and support individuals with mental health and other health conditions. And with that being said, always remember, you guys, you are a bomb within your own shell. And until next time, peace, love, and light.